I just can't tell if I am... I can't tell if I'm blurry or not, for whatever reason. Maybe because I'm blind also, in addition to whatever. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate all of you so very much. Today I am doing a ranking video. So I got asked in the comments of my palette collection video, which I can link up in the cards for you, to do a ranking video of my Natasha Denona palettes. And for many of you here, you know I'm kind of relatively obsessed with Natasha Denona. I do have a grip ton of her palettes, and I also have some of her face powders, so bronzers, highlights, and blushes. I do have I'm obsessed with Natasha Denona. I think that her, if I could be on any 3 brands PR list, Natasha Denona would be in that top 3. Just putting it out there. Please. Little old me, 660 something subscribers, is never gonna get on Natasha Denona's PR list. But here's how it lays out. Like, I love Natasha Denona, I love ABH, I love Lunar Beauty, I love Juvia's Place. Y'all already saw my top 5 eyeshadow formula video. Those are the 5 that I would love to be on. So I do have a grip ton of her palettes. I am going to walk through with you each one of these palettes and how I would rank them. Many of them have not seen very much use, you guys. If you saw my palette collection video, you do know I have so many palettes in my collection. But when I am looking for a look that I want to impress people with, these are the palettes that I really go for. I stan her, and I don't even, there's no shame in that. There really isn't. She's got an impeccable matte formula, also an impeccable shimmer formula, also just, I didn't buy her most recent palette, the Trio Chrome, because I'm just not sure that those are my favorite multi-chromes, honestly. I love the color story, and I love her mattes, and I almost purchased it just for the mattes, but that price point, like, I get it. She's worth it to me. You'll see, like, I've paid that and then some for some palettes in her collection, but I'm just not, there's so many reviews on that palette that are not kind to that palette. So with that being said, let's jump into the palettes. I do have 9 palettes. One of them is a mini, so there's that. I am putting as number 9 in my list this one here, only because it is brand new to me. You guys just saw me haul this in. This is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I imagine that once I am able to dig into it and start using it, it is going to be one of the ones on the top of my list, but right now it's just not, only because I haven't used it. I haven't gotten to use it. I just hauled it in. So number 8 on my list, which really would be number 9 if I had used that Metropolis palette at all, is the Sunset palette. I don't know if I had this so hyped up in my brain that when I finally got it, I was just so disappointed in it, because I already had a palette with the same color story from ColourPop that I liked. But this was just not my favorite palette by her. I would say if you are into Natasha Denona and you're looking for a palette to splurge on and a palette to skip, this would be your palette to skip. I do love the shades in this palette, but this was just not a monumental palette for me. I have dug into it. You can see this one and this one here are probably my 2 favorite shades in the palette. The rest of them I just don't think are spectacular. This yellow is actually pretty, it's a really good yellow. It is a really good yellow. I will give it that. It's just not my favorite Natasha Denona palette, and something's got to land at the end, and this would be it. It's not the one I reach for the most. Similar to that one is this one, coming in hot at number 7, and it is just truly about the color story for me on this one. This one doesn't look as beat up as that one. I've only used this one once. It's just about the color story, honestly. It's a perfectly beautiful palette. The color story doesn't excite me as much as so many other ones do. I think if I use this one more, I've only used it once. I think if I can use this one more, then it might probably find its way higher up on my list. But also, if you guys know anything about me, you know that I am kind of a color queen. So these neutral, if I was a neutral eye look fan, God knows why I even bought it. But if I was a neutral eye look fan, this one would probably be higher up in the ranks for me. Which is funny, when you see the number 1 palette, you'll probably laugh at that statement I just made. If you know me, you know what one is my favorite. So then next on the list, so coming in at number 6 would be the Natasha Denona Star palette. This was a huge expense. This palette was $169 and it does have 18 shades in it. And these are the shades in this palette. This would rank up higher, but I think that there's just something about this palette. You know, I don't know what it is. I love Natasha Denona, but I wanted, again, I think much like the Sunset, I hyped this up so much in my brain that I think that when I finally got it in my collection and looked at it, was like, what am I going to do with this? I realized that it shouldn't have been as hyped up in my brain as it was. What I do love about it is it's got like that warmer side and more pinky, and on the other side it's more like brown and neutrals. I feel like you could, of all of her palettes in my collection, I feel like this one is the most variety driven. This is one that lends to, you know, traveling, because you can get multiple different eye looks out of it. It's not just a one tone kind of eye look going on, and you can mix and match as much as you want. But I think that what I need to do is maybe, you know, because all of these palettes you can pop the shades out. I need to pop all of her shades out, mix and match them in my palette, and then create new Natasha Denona palettes that drive excitement, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of these shades. This one here, oh, is so pretty. So pretty, and it's kind of got this duochrominess to it. It is just beautiful. But this palette, when I look at the rest of my Natasha Denona palettes, doesn't excite me in the way that the other ones do, and I just don't know why. I just don't know why, because it is a beautiful palette. And what I would say too is all of her shadows are so creamy, so silky to the touch, and blend like a dream. So the next one, which would be number 5, top 5 here, y'all, is this one here. It is the Love palette. These purples are amazing purples. This red is a gorgeous red. Oh God, it's so pretty. This middle shade here is a beautiful tone. I also have that in a single, so this one isn't touched in this palette because I also have it in a single that I got in a, like a sample, as a sample from Sephora, I guess. I love the packaging of this palette. I didn't get it right when it launched, but I did get it not long after it launched. I guess it was about 6 months after it launched. I loved the color story of this, and what it works perfectly with is my palette number 4, which is the Natasha Denona Lila palette. So these are the tones in this palette.
I could do this all one-handed.
These are the tones in this palette, and these are the tones in this palette. And I feel like you've got the darker, more grungy purples in this palette, and then you've got the lighter tones in this palette, and they perfectly work in tandem with each other. I love pairing the two palettes together so much. So we have the Love palette number 5, the Lila palette number 4. This palette was my very first Natasha Denona palette, and it was brought to me by my children. They gave it to me for Mother's Day one day. I told them that they're the catalyst for my craziness with Natasha Denona. I probably would never have bought a palette from her. My next one, number 3, my top 3, This comes in my top 3 because this is the best color story and the easiest palette to take with you anywhere. I mean, look at it. It is so small. It's like the size of my hand. I can plop it in my purse. I can touch up any eye look. But also, in addition to that, as small as this palette is, it is so versatile. You can get so many different eye looks out of this. And I think a big reason why is because you have not only a light and dark matte, but you also have 3 shimmers that hugely change an eye look when placed on the lid. So I think that this comes in at number 3 for me for those reasons. It's easy to travel with. It's super versatile in 5 easy shades. And I don't find her mini formula to be any different than her full size formula. I know that that rumor goes around the mill too. Number 2 would have to be this one here, which is the Natasha Denona Sunrise. Wow, what a difference from sunset to sunrise. And I think I picked up the sunset at the same time as I picked up the sunrise, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe picking up these 2 palettes at the same time was a bad idea, because the formula in this one, I don't know, it just feels so much better than the sunset one, even though I don't think that she's changed her formula at all. So I love this palette. This was also the first midi palette that I had. I love that you can get like this really beautiful like sunsetty vibe look out of it, or sunrise. It's called sunrise. But you can also like be hugely neutral. What I also love about it is because of the mattes that are in this palette, it lends to a lot of versatility. Again, just a hugely versatile palette for Natasha Denona, and this color story is just bomb. It's just amazing. It's my favorite palette to take with me places because I can get that wham bam in your face like crazy colored eye look, but I can also get really subdued normal eye looks out of this palette for sure. And then my number 1 palette, take a second and think about it. My number 1 palette is a palette that I wasn't even going to pick up by Natasha Denona, which clues me into the fact that maybe I need to pick up the Glam, because I don't have the Glam for the same reason. I look at the palette and I go, oh my god, that's so boring. Or, oh my god, that's all cool tone. Oh my god, what would I do with that palette? I did the same thing with this one. And then I watched so many people rave about this palette that I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it out. You guys, it is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I really can't. I had a friend of mine, Lisa, as a matter of fact, asked me the other day what was so special about this palette. And I know when you look at it, you see just a whole bunch of brown. But there's also these beautiful colors down here that you don't get the full effect from in a screen, right? This teal is the deepest, darkest teal. Oh God. And it just feels like butter. It is so pretty. So pretty. Me and my bony hands. Of course, I put it on a bony hand. It looks awful. It genuinely is just gorgeous. Let me try and swatch that in maybe a different place so that you guys can see what it looks like. It is just beautiful. And then all of the other like little colors that can go with it. So like in your screen, you're seeing this one as kind of like a bright like greeny gold shimmer, and to me it looks like a peach. It's very duochromy. Oh, they're just so soft. So do you see that? You see it as green. I see it as pink. And then you put it down. Look at how beautiful that is. I think I swatched those very same two in my top 5 formulas. So I'm going to swatch a couple more out of this palette for you, just so that you can get some kind of perspective as to why this is. I mean, don't get me wrong. These browns are not bad browns. This brown is a gorgeous brown. So let's swatch that one, and this one, and this one, and even this one here. They're just so pretty. They're just so pretty. So we have the brown. Look at how just perfect that is. And then the shimmer green. Oh, it's more like a topper, this guy here. And then we have this edge one here that is just such a beautiful like gold tone in your screen, but to me it looks like a rose gold. It's just so beautiful. It's this one here. And then we have this one, which is more like a copper gold. You guys, it's just such a pretty palette. And maybe part of the allure for me is also, can you guys see those shifting? That one right there and this one right here. Can you see them shifting? Oh my god, they're just so pretty. It's just a gorgeous palette and so versatile because of all the browns in it, but also the fact that these shimmers all are just shifty. They're all just so shifty. This white one even. Also, I would say Natasha Denona's longevity of her shadows are just crazy. I'm gonna swatch this one for you. This one is a topper. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's very sheer. It's more of a topper for certain. But look how pretty that is. It's just so wet looking and just really, really beautiful. So this would be my #1 Natasha Denona palette. I have a feeling that once I'm able to try Metropolis, like I can see it floating into probably the top 5 of my Natasha Denona palettes. But do you have a Natasha Denona collection? What would be your favorites? Do you agree with my ranking of them? Like, this is just impromptu. Like, I know I reach for this one and this one the most. So this one if I want more of a neutral eye look, and this one if I want more of a colorful eye look. I also travel with this one more. It just travels better. I travel with this one quite a bit as well because it's so small. This one, I love purples. Purples and pinks are kind of my jam. And then this one and this one I wouldn't say are horrible. I think that, I mean, they've got to go somewhere, right? I've got 9 palettes, so I would say I just reach for them a little less often. This one, I could do without this one. Honestly, if I could put this one back and get the trio chrome, I would love to do that. But I can't, so I won't. And then this one's just new. So there you have it, my Natasha Denona ranking video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that if you did, you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. It really does help our channels. It gives, you know, YouTube some indication that people are out there watching our videos, liking our videos, and maybe they will shoot our videos out to others on the platform that are watching videos. Maybe it's something somebody else likes, and that gives them the indication that we are somebody that people like to watch. What? Also, it's totally free to do. So I would love if you hit that like button for sure. I also hope that you're considering subscribing to me before you go. I would love to have you along for my crazy midlife crisis here that I've been at for the last 3 years, and I would just love to get to know you down in my comment section. So please consider subscribing before you go. Please do hit that big thumbs up button before you go. If you subscribe, please hit the notification bell so it notifies you every single time I upload a video. I do upload 3 to 4 times a week depending on the week, so I would hate for you to miss anything. So please do hit that notification bell. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I hope that you and yours are well out there. I hope that December is treating you kindly. I also hope that you are wearing your mask when you're out there in public, because you guys, keep yourself safe. If for no other reason, keep yourself safe. I hope that you're loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time,